banning and picking here.
I do want to see that rel taken away this time. I don't care what happens. Don't just please ban rel. It's gonna be the new Olaf of mid league. Like
It's I think it rolls over people a little bit less, but I do think the sub played it so well that it could be considered in maybe a second phase ban. I agree with you. I think we just saw the power of that champion. Again, Anarchy Lime is going to be banning out the Yone. Another kind of comfort pick for Princeton. It's a champ that you can always rely on. And they do end up banning out the Metal Bender. She will not be showing up in game number 2.
Thank you. See, they actually listen, unlike Olaf.
Not a fan of Metal Benders. Omega Gaming is going to end up, again, there's not much you have to change in terms of pick ban. You end up winning that game very convincingly, so you can kind of be like, hey, Anarchy Live, try to beat us. Do something different. So they're going to end up keeping the same Hecarim and Seraphine bans. Don't want to give over the Seraphine. A lot of flexibility can be played mid, 80 carry and support, sadly. But I want to see what Anarchy Live, they do have the first pick on this side. They end up banning out the Jhin as well. Do not want to play against that bot lane.
You do not. I do think banning the Jhin without the rel, still a good idea, don't get me wrong, but without the rel, that Jhin isn't going to be as high of a priority pick anymore. Especially without the Kai'Sa ban.
I agree. Yeah, again, there's a lot of 80 carries open. Senna is going to be hovered by Anarchy Lime. Super strong 80 carry. Can be sometimes played support, but fasting or feasting Senna has done a lot of work. And so Anarchy Lime will pick it up here. And again, we are already seeing the comp for Anarchy Lime changing here. Because again, the Ashe didn't have a lot of impact last game. She wasn't able to get items kind of stacked up. And the engage never really came out. So I do like Anarchy Lime kind of shifting and trying to make, honestly, a new strategy. And again, Senna is a super strong 80 carry. So we will see what Omega Gaming do pick for the opposite. A Kindred being hovered for Fallen Artemis. It is his comfort pick, and he's going to lock it.
Okay. That was not what I was expecting, I'm going to be honest. You have the Gragas hover as well. If there is going to be the Gragas pick, that is going to be thrown to the top lane, and that is exactly what is going to happen. I don't know how I feel about that. I see the ult combo. It's definitely there. But I just, like, I don't know, Kindred Gragas. What do you think, Gungeon?
I think, obviously, this indicates the Gragas is going to be going top or support. I think top lane Gragas is super strong. It's like a completely blind pickable top lane tank. It does super well into a lot of matchups, so I like it for Simulacrum. Putting him on a tank, letting him play weak side again. But for the side of Omega Gaming, it does have a little bit of... It's something that could have been waited for, but if they want to take it away from Anarchy Lime, they feel like Anarchy Lime is going to pick it again because, again, Captain Claps didn't have the best game one, but it is something that he's comfortable on, so it could just be a takeaway. Anarchy Lime is going to lock in the set and the Echo, so either solo lanes or the support has been locked in now. Can
you do fasting Senna with Senna set?
Yeah, you can. Fasting Senna is like a monk. She can fast whenever she wants, wherever she wants. I've seen Senna with Scions. I've seen Senna with Nautiluses. Senna is fasting.
Okay. Well, then it's quite certainly a possibility that set could be thrown in the bot lane, although I really don't think so. I think that's going to be set top, and then an Echo flexed into the jungle just to try to keep up with the mobility and damage of that Kindred. Kindred is a champion that wants to, naturally kite everywhere and just wants to walk around you like your feet are glued to the ground. And Echo is the champion, like the one melee champion that you can play in the jungle that's like, no. So, I do like that. And we also have the Misfortune coming out to try to counter that Senna. How do you feel about that matchup?
The thing I was going to mention was, again, pick bans are super hard during the current state of league just because of how flexible everyone can be. Senna can go in 2 positions, Set can go in 3 positions, Echo can go in 2 positions as well. So it's really hard for both sides to kind of lock down where a lot of these champions. In terms of the Misfortune into the Senna, I will assume that it's going to be Senna feasting or fasting in the 80 carry position. Misfortune does really well, good into team fights, strong 80 carry. She's pretty lane dominant as well. It's not too crazy of a pick, but I like it. Again, Omega Gaming has played it before. I have seen the adjustments. Misfortune, he plays it super well. He plays it very aggressively. And Omega Gaming's bot lane was the power point of game number 1. So if they're going to put their bot lane on a strong AD carry support combo, I'm all for it.
If we are thinking that, then Misfortune Braum is the first combo that comes to my mind. I don't know if it's still good, if it's still viable, but it is, or it was, strong, so hoping to see that come out.
Yeah, and again, right here, if Omega Gaming wants to pick their support, they can kind of leave that flex pick or that last pick up for their mid laner in Princeton. If they want to end up picking their top laner, you can kind of lock down with Gragas. There's a lot of flexibility, so I do want to see what Omega Gaming do prioritize. We are going to see the Victor and the Galio banned out from Anarchy Lime. So again, targeting Princeton's champion pool, he's really strong in the mid lane. He's a really just rock from the side of Omega Gaming. Ooh, Scion getting locked in. Now this is a spicy team comp.
It was a little bit of a last second pick there, so I feel like Scion isn't actually what's going to be played. It's like pro draft where it's like one of the random picks. But it very well could be, so let's analyze it like it is.
Yeah, again, Scion most likely goes in the top lane. That does end up sending the Gragas into the support position, so it's going to be Gragas Misfortune. A little bit of anti-synergy. Ooh, Jinx. I want to go on my Jinx rant. I think Jinx is absolutely cracked as a character.
Wait. Before you go on to your Jinx rant, we can't confirm that it's not a Scion. Can we get confirmation of what champion that's supposed to be?
It is going to be a Scion. Yeah.
Okay, never mind then. I'm a liar. Top tier liar.
Ooh, so Anarchy Lime's comp is now fleshed out. So it will be Echo Jungle, set top lane, but the Jinx Senna bot lane. Again, Jinx rant. I think she's super strong. I think that the buffs they did to her rocket form, where the amount of attack speed reduction she had was, I believe, 20% before. I think now it's down to 10%. So she actually does attack a lot faster in her rocket form. I think that Gale Force is super strong on her. And I think that she can, honestly, you can build a lot of comps around her. So I really like this Jinx pick. We are going to see Omega Gaming lock in the Orianna. So now the team comps are going to kind of finally materialize. We're going to understand where all the puzzle pieces kind of fix. So it's going to be the Scion in the top lane, Gragas, no, not Gragas, Kindred jungle, Orianna mid with the Misfortune Gragas combo in the bot lane. Kind of like a hodgepodge of a comp, if I have to say.
It's very interesting. I was thinking about Gragas Misfortune, although I didn't really say it vocally. So into a Jinx Senna, I think that they have quite a bit going on in that lane. Gragas would be pretty good in a Senna, I presume. What do you think, Gungeon?
He can do a decent amount of work. The problem is that Senna can kind of fight at such a long range that it's really hard to Gragas to ever get good engages off unless he uses the flashy combo. So that's going to be really what I want to watch from the sub, to see if he can get that flashy combo down and kind of ulti both of these very squishy, susceptible AD carry bot lane of Jinx Senna. But in terms of just standard laning phase, it's going to be really, like, Anarchy Lime does have the advantage here because Jinx Senna has such long range to kind of poke down the Misfortune Gragas. A lot of it's going to be kind of onto both of these AD carries to kind of dodge out on the poke and the abilities. So I think the lane is kind of a wash, but I would give it a slight favor to Anarchy Lime's bot lane.
Okay. I do have to agree. I do think Senna Jinx is a lot more reliable, for sure, than Gragas Misfortune. Like you said, Gragas is kind of a coin flip, I'd say. If you're good at Gragas, then you're good at him. But if you're not, like, Challenger 9 billion LP Gragas, then you're not gonna do too hot.
I think you're giving Gragas means a little bit too much credit, I have to say. I think Gragas may be a little bit of a smaller brain character than you're presuming this character to be. But
listen. I'm not saying that you need a high IQ to play Gragas. Okay? I'm saying that if you want to be good at Gragas, specifically in support, because it's an entirely different playstyle than jungle, then you need to know what you're doing. That's what I'm getting at. Also, we have another hydrate, so I don't know if you want to wait, but I'm thirsty, so.
I'll bring out the chug jug a little bit later while I kind of go through in terms of just lane matchups.
What? I told you not to say that.
I'm gonna
Why
call
would
it
you?
chug jug forever.
Why?
In terms of lanes, again, Anarchy Lime, the kind of bright star in game number 1 was Knots. Again, he was playing Malphite into the Jace matchup of Simulacrum, but he did solo kill him twice. So you have to give him that, and I do think that Anarchy Lime putting him on his comfort pick of Set, that could be what they play around. You have Set Echo, really good in skirmishing team fights. Again, Scion plus Kindred, they're decent, but Kindred does take time to scale. Scion is just tank, small brain tank. So I do like Set Echo a lot in these skirmishing team fights, and I think that's kind of what Anarchy Lime do want to go for. They have a lot of power in these skirmishes. Cinder Echo, ton of damage. Cinder Set, ton of damage. If they want to do full team fights, it can be a little bit more Omega Gaming favored because they do have that ball comp. You have Orianna, dumb tank in front of her, go in, Orianna Shockwave. Super simple. But Anarchy Lime, they have a lot of side laning. They can play 1-3-1 super well because Jinx Senna can be so safe. And Echo can honestly act as the side laner while you keep the Syndra with the Jinx Senna. So Anarchy Lime is going to be looking for more of these sporadic spread out team fights where they can kind of get that skirmishing advantage. But in terms of Omega Gaming, we are seeing ball comp. 280 carries, dumb tanks in front of them, Orianna Shockwave. Let's see what happens.
Something we haven't really talked too much about is the mid lane matchup, Syndra into Orianna. As far as I know, this is pretty much a skill matchup. It's not really too favored to either champion exactly, but what do you have to say, Gungeon?
Oh, Syndra versus Orianna. Oh god.
Sleeping over there?
It's almost as good as Azir Corki matchup. You know, I love watching two mages fight against each other. Syndra Orianna, I think, as long as both of them are respectful and build the Merc Treads against each other, because again, if you don't build the early Merc Treads, you can get 100 to 0 very easily. But if you are just respectful about it, build the Merc Treads. If you want to build Verdant Barrier as well, the Magic Resist Seeker Arm Guard item, the matchup kind of just turns into a stat check. Both these champions kind of stat check you. If they're stronger than you, they will always just get the full combo off and you will die. Syndra hits R on you plus QE, you die. Orianna catches you with her QW into an ulti, you die. I expect both these mid laners, they played super well. They played fine in game number 1. They didn't really have too many solo deaths. I expect this matchup to kind of just go even. And it's going to more come around the skirmishings plus team fights for both these mid laners.
Alright, well, we are heading just to the end of spectator delays, so we are going to toss it over to a short break, and you will see us after this game.
Remember to drink your chug jug, boys. I'm drinking mine.
Remember, no, don't drink your water. Yep.
Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen. Hitting the rift, game 2 of Anarchy Line versus Omega Gaming Unleashed. Once again, I am Valley. Alongside me is Mac Dewey. And Mac, I'm a big draft person.
Yes, you are.
And I just want to know how Kindred makes sense with Gragas, Orianna, and Scion on your and Misfortune. Can you explain it to me?
In just 2 words, it's as simple as just your jungler being Fallen Artemis. You know, at the end of the day, this is one of his most comfortable champions, and I know it may not seem like it synergizes very well with the rest of the team, but Valley, I think as we approach the end of the game, we'll be telling ourselves, man, Fallen Artemis is absolutely nuts on Kindred. I'm really excited to see the champion back in his hands, and he's going to be looking to do the same thing that he did on Udyr just last game. There's a reason Omega Gaming felt comfortable just banning it away on their side. Fallen Artemis, before the jungle changes get in, Valley is looking to hyper turbo carry some games from the jungle for the final week of while it still lasts.
Yeah, you won't be able to do that once the jungle changes. Analysts expecting that the jungle is going to be a lot of power farming. You'll see a lot more tanks in the jungle as well.
Yep.
So characters like Kindred maybe won't be as popular. Udyr will still probably be good, but I also want to talk a little bit about this bottom lane. I know everybody likes Senna, and I think Senna's really strong right now. I play a lot of Senna myself. This is a character that isn't typically paired up with a Jinx or a hyper carry marksman like a Sivir or even like an Aphelios, because it doesn't offer the best strength in the lane when paired with that kind of champion.
Yeah, the one thing going for Itsumi into the Gragas is that it is going to be kind of free stacks territory as soon as the sub tries to step up, and we're going to try to see maybe if Omega Gaming Unleashed is going to be able to get yet another aggressive level 2 off, but it looks like we are actually going to get a pause instead. So we'll have to wait a little bit on the action, and it gives us a little bit of time to think about this Senna pick. I really do think that in terms of setting up the rest of the team, it does work pretty nicely, I think, into the Echo alongside it, trying to slow everyone down from a long range and trying to get the fights going. We also can't sleep on Senna's E ability, Shadows of the Black Mist. Just kind of like Graves' Smokescreen, I feel like from a viewing perspective, we don't commonly see just how annoying dealing with that ability is, but if you're familiar, you know it can really be game changing when it interrupts key abilities. But when you've got an Orianna Shockwave and Bullet Time coming right into the team, Senna's Black Mist or not, Senna and the rest of the squad is gonna get blown away.
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue to talk about ease of execution, right? Because
right.
we laid this matchup out as a team that needs to get back on their foot with Anarchy Line, and a team that is inconsistent in getting 2-0s with Omega Gaming Unleashed. And you kind of look over at Anarchy Line's comp and you think, this does not have that great of ease of execution, whereas on the side of Omega Gaming Unleashed, they just press R.
Right. You got quite the ball delivery system, and as long as the sub doesn't blow the party away and ruin things for the rest of the team, Princeton once again can look to carry this game on a control mage in the team fights last game, and even just early on how aggressive he was able to play and the quick kills that he was able to dominate the game after picking up. You know, putting the ball in his court is kind of exactly how Omega wants to play, while Warrior,
Warrior's dead. First Blood's going to go over to Fallen Artemis. The Kindred found a from behind after invading and getting that stack by the Raptors. So is going to pick up another early First Blood. And you mentioned it. You said this Fallen Artemis guy on this Kindred. you got to watch out for him. He's already making an impact pre 5 minutes into the game.
Just like how last game in the early game, Fallen Artemis just pathing, just on his way through the charting, trying to find where X marks the spot. He's just finding these ganks, finding these opportunities, communicating with his team to set up chances in the game to try to pull ahead slightly. Omega Gaming Unleashed, we'll have to see if they're once again able to repeat their success and grow this small start, build up the snowball a little bit, and turn it into a 10,000 gold lead before Baron is even picked up. That's the territory we're in when it comes to Omega Gaming Unleashed. And when the Noon Quiver's picked up so early on Fallen Artemis, it sets themselves up to control objectives early on so that by that 25-minute point, we're talking about Soul once again.
Yeah, absolutely right. I do want to take a moment to, look at this bot lane because it's not as big of a gap as we saw last game, right? It's not,
right. Absolutely.
We didn't see a level 2 versus level 1 engaged. Tsumi already got a back off, so it's going to have an extra longsword. So did the Jinx as well. And I actually think Jinx is a strong laner. It's just typically underrated in most people's minds, given that like, oh, she has to hit 2 items before she's actually strong. Admittedly, it's against Misfortune, but I think Jinx can be someone that when she's able to solid engages, when you're able to lay your CC with the traps, she can absolutely pop you in a 2v2 and a 1v1 in the laning phase and get ahead. And I think that's really where the condition is resting on for this Anarchy Lime squad, is that Jinx does get ahead. So hopefully we see Professor Claps make his way down there, despite the dragon going over again early to the side of Omega Gaming Unleashed.
Meanwhile, Directed Cam has us checking out the pool party up in the top lane as Knots and Simulcrum continue to just have fun with their pool noodles. Some constant trading gonna happen, but here's some action.
I mean, you can call it action. I call it death, as Fallen Artemis is just going to jump away. The shockwave is enough to help secure the kill and get a 2-0 lead for this Kindred. And Warrior Guy, he's not enjoying himself in that middle lane, tries to punish the Kindred going for the mark, isn't able to do so, and is now going to be at a pretty hefty disadvantage as this continues.
Dungeon talked about it during the draft analysis. Something we're gonna see pop up for both of these mages is that Verdant Barrier, and as he laid it out, whichever mage is going to be able to outstat the other, well, things are going very smoothly in that direction for Princeton, as the top lane might get a little interesting, not on his comfort pick on the set, still able to kind of have his way for Simulcrum, who's waiting for the rest of the team to start once again extending their advantages into his lane. Regardless, going back to this mid lane match of Valley real quick, we're gonna see actually that neither of the mages have to pick up Merc Treads because of how strong Verdant Barrier is. And I think with the pace Princeton is at already, it might even just be a repeat of last game. Salty run back, some may call it. Maybe just Princeton diff at this point on these mage picks. He's going to be feeling very comfortable and may even look to pick up solo kills just like last time.
Yeah, and Fallen Artemis does get spotted out looking for a play in lane, but that will be enough to help secure the crash for his top laner. The sub, Megan and Upsumi are getting so for all you viewers at home, if you ever want to tilt someone in solo queue, learn how to do what Adjustment and the sub are doing. And the enemy AD carry will be so incredibly frustrated that it's just basically unplayable for them. Now, Princeton may have bit off a little bit more than he can chew trying to ward here, as Warrior Guy does have an angle onto him. Fallen Artemis is there to support, though, and should be able to walk away. TP comes in, though. It looks like they want this fight. Warrior Guy is going to drop low. Fallen Artemis chasing board, but get the afraid. Professor Claps goes back with the Time Winder, also out. Megan is trying to get away from this Scion, is not going to be able to out Princeton flashes, but it will be the Scion picking up the kill, and everything is going the way of Omega. The sub goes in with the body slam, finishes off the jungler, and the plates in the top lane don't matter when you lose that hard in the team fight.
Everything going the way of Omega Gaming Unleashed. The 3-man shockwave from Princeton, absolutely massive to turn around that fight in Fallen Artemis, even though he ends up getting taken down. The rest of the team comes through in a massive teleport from Simulcrum, kind of just as you were talking about, Valley. The turret plating gold is going to pale into comparison what Simulcrum was just able to do for the team. Now it's going to be more bot lane control, and we've seen so far what Omega Gaming is able to do with just a small lead. Now, depending on what soul, it's going to be either Infernal or Ocean. Just puts Omega Gaming's current lead in kind of slippery slope territory at this point. Not is going to have to make a big play with his teleport. Once it comes up, there's going to be a small window of opportunity for him to try to find a huge way to stop the show in this game, and hopefully try to find a way for Lime to get right back into it.
And Mac Dewey, I wanna ask, as Warrior Guy's probably dead. Fallen Artemis is gonna go in, is gonna get scattered the week out, so doesn't die, but says, hey, I'm here, watch out for me. But I want to ask, Mac Dewey, because you have a little bit more experience with these teams than I do, watching them for the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me like potentially the best player for this Anarchy Lime squad is not in the top lane, yet he keeps building these tanks and these weak side top laners. I'd love to see him on something that hard carries, as Fallen Artemis is that point in a second, as there's the Dawn Shadow isn't going to kill him, as that ult lasted long enough, and the sub is just waiting to body slam the ball. But I don't know, with those ultimates being blown, if you can fight as the side of Anarchy Line. Actually, it's Omega that's kind of walking away. Not's TP down.
I'm going to try to look for this objective here, Valley. Rift Herald is on the map and might potentially be played, but finally we see Anarchy Lime get numbers advantage some way, somehow on the map. This time it's from Knots using teleport, and they make a proactive effort to try to pick up an objective. Now they might find more.
Yeah, Princeton is staying around a little too long. He's going to buy the face breaker. There is the showstopper. Princeton will hit the shockwave that much, and now it's still going forward. The ult will land onto Knots, who'll get a nice knock-up from Simulcrum onto 2 to try and help the jungler get away. The Scion is going to die nonetheless. Trades one back, though, and that is actually massive value for Simulcrum. Trying to chase down Itsumi in the passive won't be enough, and the Rift Herald will be secured by Professor Claps.
Rift Herald, I feel like at this point, Valley has got to be used in the bot lane to try to find a way to get Megan and Itsumi relevant in this match, and maybe even the lane swap might be able to do it. Anarchy Lime keeping Omega Gaming Unleashed on their toes, as the Rift Herald could potentially be the solution just in the top lane to get some much needed gold into Lime's carries that they're going to be relying on in the late game. Megan with Conqueror on the Jinx is going to be looking to kind of take over around these big objective fights like we just saw, or lack thereof, really. The next time around, Megan has got to be ready, as Not's going to be looking for this 1v2.
Yeah, gonna look for the 1v2, but the sub is able to really lock him down. Here's the punch, but with the ultimate in the cast knocking him away, Knots is not really gonna have that many options. There's the Jinx ultimate, a jump! The minions got him at the last second. It is a 1-for-1 in the end, thanks to that Jinx rocket, but I mean, it's a risky play there from Knots, Mac Dewey. It's a 2v1, the tower is dead. I don't know if that's worth it.
The evening out of the kills might have made it a little bit more worth it, as I really didn't expect that rocket to come in and even things out. Regardless, we're also going to see Simulcrum on the top side of the map get some gold back into his pocket, so maybe a net even question mark at the end of the day. It's still Omega Gaming Unleashed with a 3,000 gold lead, as the turret plates very much going their way on the bottom side of the map. The top lane going about even in turret plates, right? So we can kind of think of it as a 5-plate advantage, I think, net going over to Omega. That's really helping them get this lead. You also got to look at the CS difference, as we might get an engage here.
Yeah, there's the ultimate to keep Fallen Artemis alive. But it's traded back. Professor Clap's not able to get out, and the sub with the flash body slam, but Itsumi has enough health to stay alive. Megan able to free fire in the fight, but the shockwave comes in. Dropping down is going to fall in the end, but now Knots is on the side of the fight, doesn't find an engage that he likes, and even though they had the flank, it's still Omega Gaming Unleashed that comes out ahead.
Omega Gaming find the fight. They were looking for the engages, everything coming together. Princeton once again able to find a pick, and it's just not enough from the side of Anarchy Lime just yet. Knots with a showstopper is going to be looking to make yet another big play. I think that's the key for Anarchy Lime to try to stay in this one before Omega Gaming once again just become unstoppable. Just stat diffing them, you know, just like last game when the gold lead becomes so large that even if Anarchy Lime start the fight out on good terms, they might not just have the damage to finish off any of those health bars. Fallen Artemis 3-2-3 has been getting caught out quite a bit, as I feel like Anarchy Lime have done a much better job in this game compared to game number 1 with finding fights and finding opportunities for picks. Fallen Artemis, yes, he's on this Comfort Kindred pick that I've been talking about, Valenly, but he's still a lot squishier compared to the Udyr from last game, and it seems like he's still in that Deer mindset a bit.
Yeah, his over-aggression has gotten him caught out quite a bit, as we are 23 seconds out from this Drake. Everything... Mac, go. Just...
my bad, Valley. I got a little distracted again. I was so excited for the fight. It just, we blinked and we missed it. Where did he go?
Yeah. Okay. Well, Itsumi died, which means it's now a this fight. And again, the ease of execution of this composition for Omega Gaming Unleashed is way easy. Professor Claps might try to look for a way in, but he is really getting body blocked all across. The Jinx Rocket will not find the steal, and that is not how you want to be trying to clear out support, Mac Dewey.
To me, just, I mean, we talked about the Black Mists potentially helping out during moments like these, but you got the body slam coming in. You've got so much easy engage from the side of Omega Gaming Unleashed. They're making this series look too easy as they once again find themselves in control. And if this game goes later, Omega Gaming with the Drake lead now 2-1, the Soul's going to be a little bit delayed, Valley, but this time around, they have a chance for 3 Ocean Drakes getting stacked all the way up, and that is brutal to try to deal with. Anarchy Lime, I think it's got to fall on Knots once again to try to look to catch Omega Gaming Unleashed off guard. They can't win the fights that they really don't have the numbers advantage for. Itsumi getting caught out before. Knots maybe has to be with the rest of the team going through before these objectives really spawn up, Valley, to try to help the team to get into the objective, to stay alive and to not get caught out, because if it's the set getting hit by some of these ultimates, well, he's in a position to survive those pretty easily, and that's where the Shadows of the Black Mist will really, I think, make a bit of a difference for trying to clear that vision with the whole team grouped up there. Anarchy Lime gonna have to find... Sorry.
You're good. No, I think you're laying it out very, very... again, we talked about that ease of execution. As
right,
the tower does fall in the top lane, Megan is 100% dead here. Dawning Shadow's only going to keep you alive for a second longer. The crit comes through. The Jinx goes down. And it's for me, it's hard because you look at the set and you say it's on Knots, but he's building tank. And for me, I'd love to have the set be building like a 1v2 build. You know, the Blade of the Rune King, side lane build, to actually give him the chance of deleting a character. right? As Princeton is getting engaged on. Professor
he's
Clef,
fine.
I don't think. Yeah, you're out. There's the unstoppable onslaught.
The Drift King.
Sion is going to find Warrior Guy. Isn't going to be able to get the kill just yet. Is just pushed away, and Professor Claps, now with no ultimate, has found himself dead. So that's a rough one. Flash engage is going to miss the slow though, and now the Gragas has engage with the ball. They will finally get the kill onto Atsumi, but it required a lot from the side of Omega Gaming Unleashed.
Professor Claps really, I think, Valley, going for the wrong target there. If we zoom in there on Princeton's itemization, he's got the Verdant Barrier, but the fight's still going.
The fight is still going. The sub may have gone a little too far. You cannot sub out that kind of damage. Simulcrum will fall as well, and shutdown going. Inks, who has now picked up her first item. Yes, you knocked down 2 towers, but you haven't knocked down the inhibitor towers. You can't really threaten, and given how you've been playing, if you're continually pushing waves into this Jinx, that's just free gold being funneled into this carry. I don't... Are they going to try and do Baron?
Might be the final possible idea to try to come back into this one. I don't mind it, but be careful. Simulcrum teleport available. This is going to be a 5-on-5.
This is a bad decision. You do not have the numbers.
Oh, here's the flank, Valley.
Oh, the unstoppable onslaught comes through. Isn't going to find too many of them. Fallen Artemis finds the Senna early. Knots is already low. The shot will kill him. Professor Claps is able to go back in time, but isn't able to go back far enough to kill Fallen Artemis. Instead, he will fall. The Baron is now free, but it doesn't look like Omega wants to try and contest it.
Back, ready for the fight. He's got the Turbo Chem take on the Gragas ready, and he comes in to the Baron, but he's like, wait, where did everyone go? Turns out Omega Gaming don't need the numbers advantage to try to take that fight, as Simulcrum had a bonkers teleport flank there that just demolished Anarchy Lime's hopes of trying to come back into this one. No Ocean Soul until about 5 more minutes, and even then, we're dealing with a 26-minute soul for Omega Gaming Unleashed. Very quickly, once again, they find ways to just explode the gold lead through the crisp rotations, Valley, that have been coming through from the team. No reason for Lime to try to contest this Drake. However, they need to try to find the second item spike once again. They find themselves an entire item down here in the game around the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, and I'm someone, Mac Dewey, that likes to take a look at the game and what the even gold is. They always like to interrupt me, but I like to look at the game state through interesting statistics. Now, I play a lot of Senna, and I play a lot of Senna support. Senna, with the support build in the current meta, her soul count around 20 minutes on average is around 100. Somewhere between 80 and 100. Currently, Utsumi has 51, which means either they are dying too much, which they are, or they are just not around waves or right. And I think that can be said of basically all of Anarchy Lime throughout this entire game, and even the series so far. I think they aren't rotating properly, they aren't catching waves effectively, and they're never in the right place at the right time to make good fights happen for their team compositions.
And we're gonna see Omega Gaming still find their ease of execution to make this game end very quickly, as they're gonna be moving over to Baron after all the vision from the side of Anarchy Lime has expired around this objective. And again, not in the right place, not at the right time. This one gonna go over uncontested, as well as there's only so many towers still left standing in this one, Valley, as they might not even need to reset before putting their foot right back on the gas pedal.
Good, don't reset. You see multiple members a flank, but Princeton is playing it smart. He's playing it safe, and honestly, he might even be able to 2-on-1 if they decide to go on him. Instead, they say we can just 3-1 in the side lanes and in the middle lane. We have our waves favorable spot to stack up onto each other. Even if you clear this one out, we have another one crashing. Scion is basically expendable, so as long as he keeps the Baron buff minions going up there, it really doesn't matter. And you can't really contest our Orianna when she gets here. They're able to just split up this team composition that needs to be together to even have a chance of.
Yeah, funny enough, for dealing with Simulacrum in the top lane, it might even be a bad idea to take him down, because once that passive goes off, that's a lot of damage going onto the turret and potentially the inhibitor. A very delicate situation for the side of Anarchy Lime to try to handle. I feel like they gotta be decisive!
Oh! Warrior Guy finds a massive... Traded out. Simulacrum is in the front line. Finds one. Princeton goes on a rampage, and Knots can do nothing but walk away with the showstopper. Professor Claps winds his way out, but he is going to wind his way right into bullet time. The sub has enough CDR to chase him down at this point. They don't even need to kill him because they have the numbers advantage. They have the damage. They have the health bars. Utsumi is trying to survive, trying to stand up to Princeton, who flashes forward and finishes off the kill, goes unstoppable, and an inhibitor will fall. The sub's still fighting the Echo. He will fall as well. It will be probably 2 inhibitors, if not the game.
The death timers, Valley. We've got Warrior Guy 22 back up to the defend the base, but if he dies quickly stepping up like that, it could easily be the game. But if we look top left corner, Ocean Soul gonna be potentially available for Omega Gaming Unleashed if they want to take that route. They weren't able to finish off that second inhibitor due to the respawn, so I feel like that's going to be the natural play to try to finish off this game. I don't think we'll be seeing a second Baron. It's all now up for a big steal for Professor Claps. He's got the Chrono Break available. Didn't want to call it Chrono Shift accidentally. Always get the Zillion ult confused. I know.
Yeah.
Pick better names, right? Come on. Chrono Break, Chrono.
I mean, that's bad, but Echo's also got an ability called Time Winder. Like, Chrono Break, Time Winder, like, it's not helping. It's really not. And you don't even have to play for the Drake here, as can't see. And suddenly... the fight breaks out. Cass knocks away multiple members. 0 damage being dealt to Simulacrum by that Syndra, which is just unfortunate, as Knots uses the shield and is able to blast plant to safety. But this is just delaying the inevitable, as this tower will eventually fall. This Drake will be taken without a doubt. The red buff is not yours either. And at this point, I don't think Professor Claps and Warrior Guy can from if they wanted to, as the Shockwave forces the Echo ultimate out, the Drake goes down, the bullet time forces everyone away, and yeah, I'm really not sure what's happening after this, because it's a weird fight under tower with no wave.
Crumb's able to just walk through like nothing's going on, just a rainy day on the Ocean Rift for Omega Gaming Unleashed, as they're going to be knocking down the final inner turret, Valley. The last inhibitor turret now standing, not going to be able, I think, to withstand the Omega onslaught. But without Baron, that Jinx wave clear as well as the Syndra is going to make things difficult, as the carries for Lime are going to try to hold on to this one.
Yeah, and interestingly, Megan went for the rapid fire instead of the Runin's Hurricane, so isn't going to have, but does get that second item, Power Spike. But now supers are funneling into the base, so the Jinx has to go back and answer them. At this point, it becomes a question of, do we give up our inhibitor towers? But there's the cap sub, and now Unstoppable Onslaught comes. Dodge.
He's in the back line.
Not able to drift. He's in the back line, but he's all up. He's just going to die. Utsumi will be able to not pick up that kill, but he's going to get chased down by the passive. Megan did pick up that kill eventually, but the tower falls, the inhibitor falls, and now it's just the Nexus towers and one lonely top inhib left to defend for this Anarchy Lime squad. They're not giving up, but it's looking dire.
I'm really surprised, Valley, we didn't see Omega Gaming Unleashed continue to try to look to split the map. Look at that top inhibitor! Just send Simulcrum there! Why is he ulting the backline when he could just be ulting the top lane inhibitor? That's my only critique, though, is so far this game has been closely perfectly executed, besides like a couple of dives not really going their way. They really have been in complete control, really not letting Lime slip back into this one, as even we saw the Ocean Drake control. It was just Fallen Artemis over there trying to pick up the objective, and now the sub in pick territory. Claps has got to be careful.
Yeah, it's going to go onto adjustment, but the Gale Force away. There's Chrono Break, as you mentioned. Flies out, but isn't able to knock Professor Claps in, but it is enough to zone them out. There's another Baron buff on the map. There's 2 waves of supers in mid and bot funneling into the base. There are no answers for Anarchy Lime. There are no ways to stop this team from wearing
Jinx Rocket
purple.
incoming, Valley.
It's gonna
Gotta
be body
be the way.
block. It's gonna be body block. They don't have vision. If you told that, I would have quit. I would have said, do the broadcast without me. But the Rammus thumbs up comes out. Now all you have to do is stack is 4 or 5 people in one lane, finish off that last inhibitor, and try to close out the game.
That'll be the 3rd inhibitor. They might have to pick up the mid lane one as well before they try to reset. There it is respawning as Adjustment and Simulcrum going to be able to finish off the first one. The trifecta Exodia achieved as the end is nigh. Baron minions coming into the base. The final stand for Lime.
Yeah, final stand. Professor Clap's already zoned out and cannot Chrono Break back. He's in the middle of... Barely lives from... That is a disastrous summoner to have to use if you're an AD carry, especially in this last fight, trying to clear waves. But again, no Runin's Hurricane. Knots just being deleted by Fallen Artemis. Dawning Shadow comes through, but does no damage. The tank from the turrets is going to be a lot, but there's still a Lamb's Respite. Only one is able to get inside, but Warrior Guy isn't going to live long enough. Knots tries the body slam, but it's a double kill for Simulcrum. He will eventually find the Kindred, but he will fall in return. It's 4 kills for 1. Professor Clap stands alone, and he stands no more. That's not your fountain. That's not your base. It belongs to Omega Gaming Unleashed.
Unleashed indeed. Papa Ivar going to be proud of the team after this clean series against Anarchy Lime. Both games, if we look at the total game time across both of them, it comes in at under an hour. This one just over 30 minutes, and Omega Gaming making quick work in game number 1. Really well done. We saw Fallen Artemis on the Kindred really kind of fall behind the scenes. I feel like only 8-4 and 10 I feel like was getting caught out during the mid game there a bit. It was really, I think, Simulcrum, Princeton finding big moments, big opportunities to kind of open up the fight for the rest of the team. Really solid execution through the entire series. Very few, I feel like, moments or opportunities Lime had to try to find a way back into this one, or moments we were questioning what Omega was doing. They came in to each game, I feel like, Valley, with a clear game plan and knew how to execute upon it.
They definitely did. And I think if you're someone that's looking, at this team saying, well, they kind of overextended, they're, maybe didn't make the statements that they wanted to in this thing. I disagree. I think Omega came into it, hey, we looked at this as a limit testing moment. We realized, 10 minutes into the game that we were dominating. We got into 15 minutes in the game. Let's limit test. Let's push our limits. Are they going to punish us? Can we get away with it? And if we can we then push those limits against better teams? What is that limit? Where are we eventually going to get punished? And I think they showed that even when getting punished in some of those, that they can play 2 different limits and that they can dominate nonetheless. So I think it was a very big statement coming out from Omega Gaming Unleashed overall.
As we continue, this is going to be the final set of the first round robin. Now teams are going to be meeting each other for the second time, and some of the draft preparation is going to impact how these teams continue to play through the rest of the season. What have teams shown? What do they still have left up their sleeve? If anyone's got any aces, Omega Gaming may be in a position to hang on to those until playoffs come.
Yeah, definitely going to be able to hold on to maybe some of those power picks that haven't come into it, especially if you're looking at a playoffs where we're on a different patch, where a bunch of these big changes are coming through. To give a little bit of an update across the board for some of the other games, Glaive Road, the 2-0 over Darksiders. You just watched this 2-0 happen. Divine Ascension Ruby actually took a 2-0 against AoE Team 1, AoE God Squad, and the Wolves, who I always forget their first name. Maybe Mac Dewey can help me out with that when he is available. They went 1-1, and as usual, Meme City Esports, they went 2-0. And with that, we're going to be back with an interview. But before we get there, we're going to head it right over to the analyst desk for Gungeon and Cal.